Hello everybody, my name is Eric Terramolins, and today we're going to be checking out SSSS Gridman's, made by Good Smile Company's Akane Shinjou. But is this 1/7 scale figure truly a wish come true? Yeah, that was a good joke, Eric. I'm a pretty big fan of the Gridman franchise. I grew up watching Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, the North American version. It wasn't amazing, but when I was younger, I freaking loved that show. So because of my nostalgia, I really have a strong place for it in my heart. And when I found out that they were releasing an anime to that series, I was so excited about it, and it was alright. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit, though there was a bunch of things that they had done in the series to kind of make it feel more like you were watching a real-life sort of drama, and the lack of ambient sounds as well as having a bit of a missing score that would be playing here or there in the background, where everything just felt quiet and it made the long parts feel long. Regardless, I still really loved that show and quite a few of the characters in it, one of them being Akane Shinjou here. Now this character's original design is chock full of references from all sorts of anime and mech things throughout the years, especially Transformers. I have an older Masterpiece Optimus Prime over here, as well as the Kotobukiya Megatron Bishoujo figure. Her colors and a lot of her design pay respect to both of these characters somewhat. She's not really like Megatron, but she has all the colors that seem somewhat similar to Megatron. She's actually based off of Optimus Prime, but not the one we know and love. She's based off of Shattered Glass Optimus Prime. Shattered Glass. Are we gonna get into this right now? The whole concept of alternate realities and multiverses has been around for a very long time, and Transformers definitely fell victim to that many years past. In an alternate Shattered Glass universe, the Autobots are the bad guys and the Decepticons are the good guys. I know, it's so wild. As the only Shattered Glass stuff I seem to own is all in Micromaster scale, I don't have an Optimus. It's not something I really go towards collecting. Transformers collecting in general is such a huge bag, and we're gonna get into it right now. No, we're not. I'm going off topic. Her base is just a clear chunk of acrylic plastic. It's okay. On the plus side, it's fun that we get something transparent because you can always put a light under her and do the whole light thing. Ooh, it's so cool. Especially with the little robotic cityscape gradient painted rectangles coming out. It does look pretty nice. However, the base itself is kind of boring. It would have been cool if we had a bunch of these rectangles all in small, or even if it was a picture of maybe the whole city underneath. That would have been really awesome. As it is, we get some lines with Gridman, definitely in line with the Gridman franchise, feels stylized like it. However, the logo is put on top of the lines going down, and it's very apparent. I don't know if I like this. I mean, on the one hand, I enjoy that Gridman actually stands out, but on the other hand, I don't know. I just think the whole thing is kind of boring. The little rectangles jutting out aren't actually bolted in, but they are glued in. It's all plastic on plastic, so please be careful. Though it does feel very solid, and she wobbles, but really not that much. It's surprising for a figure that's got so much going on. The spires themselves look awesome, definitely reminiscent of the anime, and I love it. An excellently done gradient going through it, and one of these spires is plugged into her bag, which is very solid looking. It's opened up around the front, but there's a big chunk of plastic going through here, which is nice. And this bag is actually pegged through this rectangle with a metallic peg, and it's very thick. So that's pretty cool. The bag itself doesn't have any highlights on it. It does have a little bit of shading. The sculpt work is beautiful. It really looks like a nice anime bag. While on the inside, we have "Till all are gone," a classic catchphrase of Shattered Glass Autobots, where usually Optimus would say, "Till all are one." I guess, like, a lot of Transformers started saying that after that '86 film. In her promotional art, she seemed to have had a zipper or a little clip along the front of the bag. I can't 100% tell if that's what it is. It might just be a reflection of the light, but it definitely looks like something was there to reflect that light. Whereas on her actual final product, she doesn't have anything, so there's no zipper to close this bag. I don't remember if this is accurate to the cartoon. You know, it seems like something that, honestly, she would break off or, you know, damage, because she kind of has rage issues. You wouldn't like her when she's angry. Attached to this bag, we have a lovely wooden cutting board. It's very well sculpted. I love the texture, the paint job, the whole thing just really screams cutting board. It's done very well. Lovely texture all around it. They don't cheap out in any regard for this thing. Where we then have one of her gorgeous sculptures on top, and this thing looks terrific. The fact that we get a full sculpted figure here with no coloration or paint job on it, Akane, for shame. You gotta paint your minis. Really looks nice. I freaking love this tiny little figure here. It's just so cool. I would actually enjoy if it was on there with magnets so I could take it off or pose it around or use it for things sometimes, like a little D&D figure. I'm going off topic. And the other thing attached to this bag is Akane. She plugs in there with her right knee with a metallic peg. And I like to think that the metal one going through the bag actually goes through the bag and into her leg. I can't tell without actually breaking the figure and cutting everything open, but I'm thinking maybe. Her legs look very cute, slender, well sculpted. The feet are very well defined, and the toes look excellent. We have a cute little added pink color for her toenails. Plug onto her right foot, we have a lovely mug with a brush as well as a sculpting tool, and I believe that is liquid green stuff, an excellent filler of sorts to be able to fix up little cracks and things like that when you're sculpting. You can always layer it on. It's an excellent product. I actually use it quite often myself, but usually I'll use the thicker, more malleable one so I can sculpt my stuff out of that. I find it just gives such good results. I'm building my own Warhammer Purity Seal. I know that this seems kind of large, it's just that I needed something small and I'm just using this as an example for you right now. I'm going off topic. As everything smoothly goes down towards her knees, I would say that her left shin does feel like it bends in just a little bit too much. Or maybe the knee is just coming out a little bit too far. Oftentimes warping happens when doing animation to really accentuate that movement. The knees themselves are extremely simplistic. We don't have a lot of detail here. It's something I like to see, however, it's not something that we see in the anime, so I can't fault them for this. As we go up into her shapely thighs, which look terrific, the skin is very soft and we have minor warmer coloration and airbrushing going on here and there through certain parts. I would say that the legs are actually a bit of a point of contention for me because of the fact that in the series, she's always wearing stockings, so you don't see her legs. The only time she takes them off is when she's at home and she's sculpting. I get that she's got a lot of her equipment and her sculpting gear around her, so you can make the debate that while she is at home at the moment, she has all this stuff from her home where she sculpts. But I personally would have liked to see them on her, just because it's a little bit more of a staple for her character, as well as the fact that Rika is the girl that has very shapely legs and that shows them off quite prominently. Akane isn't that, so it's nice to have the differences here. Having nice stockings with gorgeous shading here and maybe some pulls in the fabric around her feet would have gone a long way at differentiating her from Rika in the first place, which is kind of what you want. These two characters can't be compared one-to-one, and despite Rika being quite a fan favorite, I personally like Akane just a little bit more. That's personal preference, of course, but I just love the evolution of her character considering most of Gridman is all about her. But of course, because she's not wearing these stockings, you get to see some of her panties, which is what a lot of people are into, I suppose. More than stockings. I guess it makes sense. Personal preferences. What a time to be alive. Her panties look gray, and they kind of give off the similar type of gray that you're going to get with Megatron. How epic would it have been to have a purple Autobot logo on there? That would have sealed the deal, but of course, licenses. This figure would have cost so much more to do that. Her behind is very well sculpted, and her underpants appear to be on her nice and snug. She has this super cute pleated skirt that she's wearing. We don't get any highlights, but we get a little bit of shading here and there. The sculpt work on these pleats really stand out to me. On the back, it's very uniform. As we get to the front, where we get to see the whole movement and the energy from her jump with parts of the pleats really unfolding, it's just really accurate in its depiction. Where she then has this super cute hoodie that's clearly going over everything. So there's nothing here that feels like, oh, it's kind of off because this isn't going into this or out of this properly. Like, no, this hoodie feels like an actual hoodie you could buy and wear, and I want one, and I would buy it, and I would wear it. There's not too many blemishes in the paint job, as we do have cutout line work for a lot of these sectioned off colors. Her little kangaroo pockets here are freaking awesome. One of them is actually slightly opened. They feel like they're sewn on there, not that it's just molded in. The cut and shape and folds of the fabric really feel baggy and comfortable. I think I would have made the zipper a little bit more gloss so that the metallic gold popped just a bit more, as it all opens up around her into this massive, epic, cool looking hoodie that actually has little ears on it. Kind of makes me think of How to Train Your Own Dragon, but does a good job at feeling like some maybe generic kaiju after you watch the show that she maybe really loves. The sleeves themselves are big and baggy. It just looks like such a thick, warm sweater. I love how the sleeve with the hand reaching up behind her head really encompasses her wrist nice and comfortably, while her hand here only looks okay. I find that the figures are ever so slightly sausagey, but it's not too bad. Whereas on her left sleeve, everything comes down extra baggy with the weight and the movement going on in her whole pose, that the big thick wrist is going down over her hand, and this is super cute. Not to mention that you can actually see her hand very well coming out of this sleeve. The hand here is done in a similar fashion to her other one. Not perfect, not terrible, but it does feel a little cartoony. I'm surprised that the feet look more realistically sculpted than the hands. Am I surprised? Probably not. Rejoice, feet lovers. Attached to her right arm are her glasses. They're cute. They've got the little crack in them. Her glasses she wears while sculpting, and they look like in the anime. Very nice. While attached to her left sleeve, we have an X-Acto blade and a sculpting tool. We also have a juice box with quite a bit of Japanese writing on it. What's really cool with this juice box is that the straw actually has little bite marks at the tip, just showing a bit more about her aggravated or easily frustrated temperament. And attached to this juice box is a phone that in no way resembles an iPhone. It's its own thing. I believe it's called Apple Conversation. I don't know. And what's fun here is we get to see a bit more personality with the fact that it's all cracked up. The white school shirt she's wearing underneath is lovely. Her chest looks very bouncy and energetic to go with the rest of her bounce and energy that she has going on here with her movement. Stretches and folds in the fabric down near the bottom. Everything feels nicely pulled as we get to the top. And then we have her cute little bow tie, very well shaded, though I would have preferred maybe a couple of highlights in the center attachment piece. As we go up to her shoulders, more excellent pulls in the fabric here, and everything goes into her coat. Her right arm really does feel like it goes in there, her left arm a little less. The coat itself is just one big thick row of plastic. It would have been nice if this was just carved inwards a bit more so it feels more three-dimensional, so the coat doesn't just look like it's just a big hunk of plastic that her arm is going into. It's not amazing, but it's no deal breaker, and it's by far from terrible. It looks cartoonish like so many other things do on this figure. Due to this, I guess I kind of give it a pass. Cute little collar where her neck genuinely looks like it's going into her clothing. The neck itself does feel a little bit long to me as it goes up into her face, especially considering that her head is slightly tilted to the right. The head itself, her face is usually a little bit rounder, and the sculpt just feels ever so slightly too thin. Then again, this might have to do with her hair and how everything rounds out because her hair is kind of flowing everywhere and we can see her face a bit better. Maybe I'm just getting tricked by the 2D art style when looking at a three-dimensional one. Nice little point for her nose. A darker line work around her mouth where we get a lighter pink on the inside. This is okay. Personally, I would have liked to see a little bit of gloss on her bottom lip. The eyes are extremely decal-ish, not really reflective at all, and that's a bit of a shame. I would have liked to see the actual eyeball parts be reflective. I never like when they don't do this on anime figures because it just makes things seem so flat. The eye decals, however, are gorgeous. They look very similar to what you'd see in the anime. I always love the unique way that they drew eyes in that, and I guess, you know, it's unique, but they're drawn like that for a reason. It works with the whole entire story. She has these headphones going around the back of her neck, and they look fantastic. They look just like real headphones. Beautiful, fluffy fluff on the inside. Personally, I would have made them a little more satin or glossy, but they are extremely well sculpted, whereas on the outside, everything looks awesome, just like in the anime. The wires then plug out and connect into one where they flow around this figure to really sell us on her movement. It plugs in under the bag, and it doesn't plug in particularly well. It's always popping off. In truth, a lot of the pieces that you're going to put on this figure can pop off quite easily if you're not careful. So try not to snag her on a piece of your clothing or bump her into anything while moving her around. Out of everything on this figure that I truly love, her hair is the only part I would say I have a bit of an issue with. I love the shading, and I especially love those anime highlights. Please give me more of this in more anime figures, please. Pretty nice. It's done with a semi-gloss, so it pops on top of her matte hair. It's just cute and feels like the show, and I love it. Her hair is flowing in the wind, and what's awesome here is we actually get a ton of layered hair, and I always love when they do this. The strands are thick, and it really feels like the cartoon. Overall, beautiful sculpt. My issue isn't with the flow, it's with how everything's attached. There are a lot of heavy mold lines here, and the fact that Akane in the anime, it's all one giant piece, they should have made sure that the top layer of her hair was just one thick piece draped over everything. Seeing these lines and these pieces that are interconnected look terrible. They don't look good at all. And the fact that her hair along a lot of the parts are smoothed out to resemble the anime makes these horrible sectioned in pieces pop even more, which you don't want. I'm not particularly a fan of the fact that she has the hair on the sides going over the front of her hair, because that kind of pushes that area back, and I guess if her hair was flowing a bit more in front of her face, this wouldn't bother me so much. It's just as it is, it's not enough. From a shelf, it's noticeable. The hair is really a swing and a miss, so I guess at that point it depends on you. I can see past it because I love so much of what's going on in this figure, and I love how much it represents the Gridman show as a whole. It's just fantastic, but I know some of you out there will not enjoy this, so of course I was going to mention it. And you'd think that's everything, but wait, there's more. She has this gorgeous scarf flowing behind her that is clearly Auntie's scarf. It represents him very well, and it's cool that she's got it on her because those of us that know, and those of you that don't should go watch Gridman right now. It's good. Attached to the scarf, we have 3 elements where one of them is her Dear Diary. We get a little bit of shading on the purple, which is surprising, and it's a lovely gloss, so it pops out quite a bit in contrast to the scarf. Then we have her adorable little drone that she uses to fly around and spy on people on her computer while the giant kaijus are destroying the cities and the towns. This thing is very well sculpted. I'm actually surprised at what level it's well done. The sweet little circular transparent propellers are a lovely touch. And finally, we get to her computer screen. This thing is really nice, very well made, where on the screen we see her manipulator, Alexis Carib, and he looks terrific. His English dub voice actor really made me think that they were channeling their inner Tim Curry, and it was awesome. Upon her release, she was going for 18,000 yen, which is on par. I'd say that was, you know, like that's a standard price for a figure at that time, especially a nicer looking one. So yeah, I'd say she's worth that. If you can get her for that price or lower, that's awesome. If you're going to be paying a premium on her, be sure to watch more reviews and maybe see a bunch more figure pictures of her in people's collections, not promotional stuff. So this way you get a better idea of what you're getting. I think she's terrific. I really love this character, other than the fact that I would have really liked to have stockings on her and also maybe have her hair look a little nicer. I'm thinking of that other figure that I had made a little while afterwards. That was her in her cheerleading outfit. Her hair was very spot on, but aside from that, she is really nice. Her sister statue of Rika is very, very impressive. It's a gorgeous statue. I don't have it. I would have liked to have gotten it back in the day, but I can't afford getting every single statue, so, you know, you pick and choose. And I did order another Rika figure, which is this one right here. Expect to see the review on her soon, because as of my time of recording and making this figure, Rika is currently being shipped to me. That's exciting. The whole concept of having figures jump up and then just litter their base plates or their surroundings with multiple elements of their franchise or TV show or video game is not new, and it's amazing. I love it because of the fact that you can just get one figure and everything that you see on that figure makes you think, huh, that show was awesome. Rather than just thinking of that one character, all of a sudden you're thinking of the stories, the writing, a bit of everything, and I find that's something that makes these figures really alluring. However, when they're like this, they're extremely fragile, so keep that in mind. It could also be seen as somewhat cluttered. If you have a lot of smaller figures, and let's say you had 5 jumping figures with things flowing all around them, I could think that that's busy. Maybe a little too busy, depending on the kind of shelf you want to put them on. However, if you have a bunch of simplistic figures all around, this will definitely stand out. It's very impressive in the way that all of these pieces plug onto her. It's almost seamless. You can see it a little bit here and there, but for the most part, on a shelf, she looks like everything's floating around her, and it's just gorgeous. If you like my video just a little bit, it doesn't cost much to instantly hit that like. Your reaction of hitting the subscribe would be most welcome. And if you'd like to be notified of my future videos, be sure to hit that notification bell. It goes a crazy long way helping support my channel, and I really appreciate it. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye! This cute little purple sweater is super cute and super purple. What a cute hoodie. Oh, okay, I'm a big fan of purple. It's my favorite color of all time. It's probably the reason why I like so many purple characters like Skywarp and Joker. Nah, I don't really like the Joker. Do I like the Joker? He's alright, I guess. Wait, who am I talking to?